Charlie shifted uncomfortably in her seat, the heavy metal mask on her face making her head hang low. As the smelly demons around her snarled, growled, and screamed, their eyes were transfixed on the sandy circle at the bottom of the grandstand. At its center stood a woman, dressed in an elegant red feathery dress, her head and face covered by an opulent metal helmet that covered everything above her chin, a long slender red tail poking out from beneath her dress's bottom, and her teeth came in 2 rows of razor-sharp daggers. The ringmaster of what was called the Butcher's Circus. She was hyping up the masses as she shouted into a microphone. This place, the Butcher's Circus, was a place where there were no boundaries to depravity. And today's spectacle was called public execution. An often held gladiatory battle spectacle with no thumbs up and no mercy. It was one of the circus's most beloved events that didn't have anything to do with sandy orgies. Overlords and dealmakers from all around the circle met here to bet the souls of the contractors in the hopes to win new souls, as the losers' souls were given to the winners, or well, the owners of the winners. The masks for the demons watching were there to shield their public images. Some of the clients of the Butcher Circus were highly esteemed demons and hellborn alike. But it also put everyone on the same playing field. The ones wearing an iron mask were visitors. The ones wearing a gold mask were contract holders of fighters. And the ones not wearing one were the fighters or the sensual entertainment. It wasn't just the violence that got demons into the seats. It was the betting, the drugs, the alcohol, the atmosphere, the women, and potentially getting a good soul contract by participating in the fights. There were many risks and many rewards. Charlie looked up at Alistair, whose golden mask was decorated with a silver-toothed grin. The two were here for a certain demoness, who was currently in the possession of a rather grotesque monster, Lord Birmingham III, a Cinnaborn who participated in every public execution game, and who had come into the possession of your soul, a soul that used to belong to Alistair, a soul he wanted back, as your contract had run out during his 7-year absence, not allowing him to extend it, which was such a shame. You had been useful to him. His teeth clenched when the ringmaster finally announced, "The next fight will be a devilish little treat. Our beloved Illithid has come back to grace us with her violence." Charlie tugged at Alistair's suit. That's the one, right?" Alistair didn't react, but Charlie could see that Zalve was slowly pouring through the gaps of the teeth of his mask. And so she shuffled an inch away from him. Through a rusty gate you now walked out, and instantly the atmosphere changed. You were a beloved highlight, ever since you were forced to participate here. You were a corpse maker demon, a truly rare find. Corpse makers were demons whose souls were separate from their bodies, manifesting as different colored glowing orbs, through which they could cast spells, spell-like attacks, the power depending on the strength of their soul. Most corpse makers were deal makers to strengthen their own power, while skillfully trying to remain subservient to an overlord. It was said that a corpse maker whose soul was stronger than the soul of the demon who they belonged to were truly accomplished, and for obvious reasons, the true decision makers of their destiny. and Alistair loved you in a more neutral sense. He enjoyed watching your strength increase, while also making sure he was always just a tiny bit better than you. The frustration you expressed was always so delicious. A nostalgic feeling overcame him as he saw you. But still, you had changed a lot. He could see that. What used to be white hair, typical for your kind, was now colored into a beautiful, attention-grabbing scarlet red that was put in tight and actually quite charming pigtails. You were dressed in something Alistair would never put you in, though it had a certain appeal. Red and black leather boots, black thigh-highs, a red miniskirt, showing off your navel. Your chest was covered only by a very tiny red vest with white buttons. There was some decorations on you, few small gold chains, white gloves on your hands, and a golden pocket watch loosely stuffed in your breast pocket. The entire arena went wild as you made a few cute poses, as if you were some Japanese idol singer. She's cute, commented Charlie nonchalantly. Well, maybe, but you used to be such a femme fatale, not this, thought Alistair. You snapped your fingers, making your soul burst from your chest. It floated behind you like a familiar in a video game. For you, it was like any other time in the circus. Spend the day in your cage, have demons ogle at you, call you a pretty little adult toy, before you would tear their hearts out. To this day, the ownership of your soul hasn't changed, which was super rare in the Butcher Circus. You looked up at the audience. From somewhere you saw the inflated belly of the guy who owned you. He saw himself as a gladiator trainer, gouging himself on the free food given by the circus while his contractors fought, died, and killed for him. But it was okay. Due to his lack of caring, he paid a small sum of cash for winnings, letting his contractors live in the city. Though an attendance, or as he called it, making me put more effort into it as necessary, obviously led to punishment. This lax work environment was beloved by his gladiators, who often trained on their own just to stay in his service. It was then that your attention was pointed towards the other gate. And her fighter, rival, enemy will be a new arrival, a former overlord. Truly a deep fall. The audience laughed. The ringmaster was unhinged, often jumping in her thought patterns. That was due to the amount of emotions she felt on a daily basis. This woman was truly numb in her brain. I present you former gambling overlord Husk. Looks like the old cat gambled a little more than they could chew. From the darkness opposite to you stepped a black and white cat-looking demon with red, neatly folded wings on his back. Surprised, you took a step back, immediately letting your gaze move over the audience, but the amount of shiny metal and gold mask was too much. There was zero chance you could make out the radio demon. Husk stopped before you next to the ringleader, who was yapping her butt off. It's been a while, he gruffed. Well, it certainly has, you said with a fake smile. When you served Alistair, you had spent a long time with the cat. He mockingly sharpened his red claws in front of you, shots sparking all over. You look like a slut, by the way. You huffed, inhaling, before looking away, pouting. You've been in hell for 40 years, and now, after all those years, you decide to dress up like a 16-year-old, attending a senior party to have some poorly, freshly 21-year-old dude fuck your brains out, thinking you're at least 18. I said my fall was great. Are you done? You hissed.
No. But you look like you are.
Oh, you destroy him. The ringmaster teleported out of the sandpit to her elevated position on the stand. Making a graceful spin, she shouted, "Fight!" The second the letter T left the woman's lips, you swung your soul at Husk. Knowing how he used it, he barely dodged it. The tip of his tail briefly making contact with it, leaving it smoldering, but it wasn't over. As you moved your hands to guide the glowing ball towards him, the thing was like a heatless sun. Anything that touched it would burn, and yet the heat of it wasn't felt. Using his agility, he managed to outmaneuver the ball of light, and with a strong flap of his wings, he leaped towards you, delivering a mighty punch to your face. Using the force he applied to you, you threw your entire body towards the ground, managing a graceful somersault to dodge. Managing a graceful somersault to prevent a second hit. Not able to guide your soul over now, you're forced into hand-to-hand combat. His claws dragging over your flesh over and over while your punches hit him right in the face, often disorienting him, making him miss more than he actually had. After someone managing to dodge a swing of his claws that certainly would have disemboweled you, you managed to tackle him with your shoulder right between his legs. The audience groaned as the men could feel the cat demon's pain. He gasped, but then slammed his clawed hands into your back, making you scream in pain. But instead of tearing you apart, he used the opportunity to climb over you, as he noticed in just the right moment that you were pushing him towards your soul. Spitting blood on the ground, he smirked at you.
I saw you use that move many years ago. I know your tricks, illithid.
You raised your right hand. Oh, but I have so much more to give. Snapping your fingers, your soul shot upwards, floating above the arena like a disco ball. The cat's attention was on the ball. Of course, he was a cat. Giving him just enough time to lunge, punching him in the stomach so hard, vomit shot from his mouth as he stepped back, dazed, holding his tummy. He tried to breathe, but he couldn't. You approached him with a confident smirk, grabbing a thick tuft of his chest hair, shoving him further, and he was right beneath the glowing soul light.
Oh, you bitch.
Stepping away, you allowed your soul to rain projectiles.
Those needles?
He shouted as he barely managed to hide his head under one of his wings. Countless, hair-thin, sharp needles buried into his wings. You shrugged with a smug expression. What? You know me. I'm in love with the classics. The needles could only be manifested for a few seconds, but they would leave behind many small yet deep holes, disabling his wings, at least for now. After you were satisfied with your work, you switched your way of attack, running at him with your fists raised, while also lowering your soul, but despite the bloody wounds and pain you just inflicted on him, the cat's instincts were as sharp as ever. During a rain attack, he had his mouth open, filling it with his own blood. And just as you were in range, he spit it at your face. Ah, fuck! You're blinded, taking a few steps back as you try to get rid of the red, slimy substance.
Damn cat.
Your fight with Husk continued for multiple minutes, to the delight of the audience, especially as they realized that the more you fought, the less cloth was sticking to your body, leaving only tattered strings as well as a layer of your blood. And as exhausted, you breathed, holding your soul before yourself like a shield as the cat circled you. By now he had lost his right arm, and one of his eyes, but still he was so full of energy. It really sucked that you and him worked so well together while under Alistair. He knew all your weaknesses, while rarely showing his own. You had been too trusting. Grunting, you reached into the glowing ball, pulling out a burning chain, which you've wrapped around your hand. It was a desperate move. Pulling it further out, you turned your soul into a sun-shimmering flail, swimming it at the cat with deadly precision. And with annoyance, Husker watched as his chest hairs were devoured by your light, as he just barely managed to dodge away. Though in the same move, he spun in the air, landing on his feet and left arm. He rushed away, tail raised, swinging left to right rapidly. Husk stared you down like a beast. And with a cold expression you approached him. Husk's eyes wandering through the arena. He needed an advantage. The only time he managed to damage you was when your soul was far away enough to safely land a hit. Now that you turned it into a shield as well as a melee weapon, and not only that, you chained it to your arm. There was no way now. He needed to turn the tide with ranged attacks. And it was in this moment he noticed one of Alistair's shadow puppets. The thing was sitting on the chandelier above the circuit. One of Alistair's shadow puppets. The thing was sitting on a chandelier that was hanging above the arena. It wasn't against the rules to use this. It was the only one right above the sandpit, and the only one that you almost stood under.
Alistair, you clever bastard,
he thought. Husk spread his damaged, tattered wings, making a quick spin to get rid of the thickest of blood droplets. His right wing was damaged so severely he could maybe get one flap out of it before it completely became useless. So he needed to make it count. Pretending to rush towards you, he ran only for him to jump in the last second, dodging a wide swing from your flail, as well as flying up to the chandelier. The single flap hurt him so much that he almost blacked out. But with a smile he noted that the Shadow Demon was undoing the thing's screws. And after only one mighty pull from his left overarm, the thing came falling down. Shocked, unable to react, you watched as both Husk and the chandelier rapidly approached your face. And that was how you died. Body utterly smashed and destroyed by a golden chandelier, its glass shattering all over your remains. Nothing but a bloody chunk of meat and hair and cloth. Dazed, hurt, almost passing out, Husk stood next to your corpse, his remaining arm raised, the audience going wild. Slowly, you opened your eyes. Your vision was blurry, eyelids so heavy it was a chore to keep them open, though you could feel your body, hear your heartbeat, and the warmth of your soul within you, eagerly waiting to be released. You sighed, rolling your head left and right. From what you could make out, you were in something that looked like a medical ward, with red decorated walls, and the smell of apples in the air, as well as some sterile medicine. You rubbed your eyes with your freshly regenerated hands, their skin still feeling tender and squishy. God, just how damaged was your body? Even the scars you had gathered over the years on your body were gone. Sheesh. It must have been paste. You then sat up, looking left to right. Yeah, clearly a medical ward. There were a total of 6 beds, some medical equipment and a medicine cabinet. Though despite the valiant attempts at making it look professional, it was quite unprofessional. Like someone had seen images of medical wards without truly understanding them. All beds were unused, except for yours and the one of your bed neighbor. Though they had their curtains pulled, you couldn't quite see who they were. But it wasn't long until you got your answer as to who it was.
Hey, Sleeping Beauty.
You heard Husk's gruff voice, and you chuckled darkly.
That was one hell of a fight.
He chuckled again and sighed. So, for how long have I been out? You asked straight up.
3 weeks.
Your eyes widened in surprise, but then you furrowed your brows. And why are you still here?
I died too.
Huh?
Just as we were leaving with your body, I collapsed. Internal wounds. Didn't heal fast enough.
You clapped your hands slowly. Well, even if you died while still on the field, because I kicked the bucket first, my soul would still have been given to Alistair. He grumbled. What?
Nothing.
You're upset because it was technically a tie because you died too, huh? The cat went silent, and so did you. You simply lied back down, staring at the ceiling. So, mind telling me where I am now?
Aspen Hotel.
You blinked. Never heard of it.
Run by the daughter of Lucifer. You're supposed to redeem your soul here. Go to heaven?
You snorted mockingly. That's hilarious.
But that's why you're here.
You shook. Wait, what? You turned on your side, seeing Husk's shadow sitting up, rubbing his face as he thought, searching for the right words.
Alistair wanted your soul so you could be his little spy. You're posing as a guest. Well, technically you are a guest. Basically whatever you and your fellow guests do, you tell him, as he doesn't always attend group meetings and the like. Neither do I, by the way. Shit's boring as sin.
Oh dear. You rubbed your forehead.
Johnny has been here a bunch. She's really excited. You're the first new guest in Serpentious.
Alright, sounds like a lot of social garbage. Husk sighed.
Ah. I know you hate that. Want some booze?
No, I won't say no to that. You heard the cat shuffle around, opening his nightstand.
What are you feeling?
You nodded slowly as your expression slowly got lighter. Grog. Husk laughed from the bottom of his heart now. In his memory, you were this dark, dignified lady. You always wore fine black dresses with a thin black veil in front of your face, like a widow in the funeral of her husband. Though that was typical wear for corpse makers. Your kind was rare and they liked to show it off. But when it came to drinks, you liked the dumb shit. Drinks that were easy to make, kicked like a mule, and tasted like rancid toilet water. Your preferred beverage being a concoction of rum, boiling water, add a sliced, slightly squeezed lemon, and orange juice with just enough sugar in it to make a child weep tears of joy. The stuff was absolutely vile, and Husk loved making it for you. You smiled as you heard a little electric tea kettle bubble. So you got everything? You asked, knowing the answer was yes.
I always got a bottle of rum with me. Then I swiped the cattle from the nurse's cabinet over there. I used leftover sugar from my throat medicine tea, and while I don't have a sliced lemon, I have a pack of orange juice mixed with lemon. I should just have enough sugar in it as well, too.
You're a magician when it comes to the art of getting drunk, Husky. You purred.
We're all teammates. Gotta keep the group together.
Absent-mindedly you played with your hair, which had regenerated in its natural white state. A few minutes later, Husk stepped over with 2 smoking glasses. You sat up, taking the one he offered you. So, how does the old saying go again? You chuckled as you clanked your glasses together. 1 of sour? He smirked.
2 of sweet.
3 of strong.
And 4 of weak.
The both of you started downing the quite nasty concoction. Just as disgusting as always, you said pleased as the hot drink warmed your heart and stomach. With a satisfied smile, Husk burped loudly.
Look, God, you have terrible taste in drinks.
But he was smiling. You then looked at each other with a gaze similar to old lovers seeing each other again after months of absence. Though in reality, the 2 of you never got it up until now. Though, in reality, the 2 of you never got it on. At least not until now. You always were dancing around the subject, mostly because you used to be way more professional and cold-hearted. Safe to say, Husk liked the new you. Being among the ruffian gladiators of the butcher circus for so long really did well on your personality. Like he couldn't remember the last time he heard you laugh. Fuck, and now he was blushing. What's wrong, cat? You mused, before putting the glass back to your lips to lap up the last few droplets. His mouth almost dropped, seeing your long, black tongue reach the back of the glass. Oh God, if only Angel could see that. He'd make some stupid remark like, "Nice tongue, mine's bigger though." Or, "Last time something that big was in my ass was 2 hours ago," followed by him wiggling his butt provocatively. The thought almost made him shudder. Still, though, the lewdness of your action was taking him off guard, and you noticed him staring. "What's wrong, big boy?" you said mockingly. He looked away. Decades of working together so closely suddenly were put under a different lens.
Was there always such sexual tension between us?
Oh, I never thought of that.
Crap, I said that out loud, didn't I?
But instead of being taken aback, you smirked. You must have missed me a lot, huh? The true answer was no, as up until he stood before you, he had assumed you died during an extermination. He tried to forget any acquaintances whose status was unknown to him.
Are you offering yourself?
He asked straight up. You crossed your arms. I mean, I suppose I'm a virgin again. Wanna be the first? He threw the glass away. It shattered somewhere behind. And then he threw the glass away, shattering somewhere behind, before throwing himself on top of you. As you giggled, feeling his warm, soft body pressing onto you.
Bitch, that's all you needed to say.
His lips pressed onto yours as you hummed into him. After the first precious seconds of contact, you placed a hand on his cheek, using a thumb to scratch over his fur. Good kitty, you thought, as he opened his mouth, inviting me so. Pushing your tongue into his gaping jaw, it skillfully explored his inside. Its soft, wet walls, his hard, sharp teeth, and his grog-tasting, spiky kitty tongue. Ah, what a wonderful feeling. Meanwhile, his claws began to gently explore your body. Considering the last time he touched you it were deadly swipes, your body reacted on its own with a slight fear response, despite your efforts, but Husk understood why, and he didn't mind. Your body would soon realize that there's nothing to fear of this old kitten. Your heart beat faster as his hand pushed onto your chest, deliciously squeezing and pinching just right to make you moan in delight. Meanwhile, you reached for the suspenders of his pants, pulling them off of his shoulders, before reaching for a zipper. So fully overtaken by your carnal desires, you both failed to hear the quiet thud of the door to the medical wing closing, with a fully red-faced Charlie standing right there in front of it. "What's wrong?" asked Vaggie, who was closely behind her.
Sleeping Beauty is awake."
"Good, let's meet her." Charlie raised a finger to stop her girlfriend.
Maybe in 30 minutes.
"Why?" Charlie couldn't say it, so she just turned to face the fallen angel before her and making an obscene hand motion. Slapping a hand on her face, Vaggie groaned and muttered, "Demons just can't keep their hands to themselves for 5 minutes." Thank you for watching my video until the very end, and I would like to remind you to please like and subscribe and comment something down below. I read every comment you write to me, and I try to reply to them as often as I can. But before we say goodbye, I would like to shout out all of my lovely darling stewards who so graciously support my 3rd tier membership. Husky HD 17, Hopeful, Castella Misery, Bree, Zoe, Ikea, Mystic Jade 111, Annabelle R. Contreras, Giovanni Moriarty, Twilight Mia, Angry Boxman, Hella, Bitbit, Melofia, Anonymous Weep, and Nicodemus D. Thank you so much for your continued support. And finally, I'd like to thank all of my lovely darling mates for also supporting me financially. I couldn't do this without you. Thank you very much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a nice day, and please remember to like and subscribe.